everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Simplifying Real Estate, a monthly podcast series by Aries Uniturn. I'm your host, Rekha. In this series, we speak to seasoned developers and industry experts to find out what it takes to be successful in this very dynamic field of real estate. Today, we have Sunil Mishra. He is the MD of the Growth Ventures at ANAROCK and also drives strategy focusing on data, AI, digital and innovation. Sunil has always championed Proptech in real estate. In his earlier venture with Proptech Housing, he has transformed traditional ideas into online reality using technology. He was also the CEO of Carvi Private Wealth. Outside work, Sunil loves writing and he's also active on social media and also has written a book called Return of the Hypotenuse, which is a poetry in maths and science. How cool is that? I would love to know more. He's also a long distance runner and has participated in many marathons. We are so very pleased to have you, Sunil, on our show. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you very much.
And audience, get ready for a very engaging conversation with Sunil, wherein we focus on Proptech in real estate.
Super. Thank you very much, Rekha. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. So, Sunil, how has been your journey, and how did you, landed in real estate?
So you ask a slightly older guy that, and I have a story, right?
Yes.
So I spent my work life in 3 industries, about 14 years in mobile telecoms, 6 years in BFSI, building a wealth management business for a stockbroking company. And last 8 years, I have been in technology-enabled real estate, if you may. And to answer your question, the entry into real estate was actually a bit of a backdoor entry for me. So it's a bit of a funny story because in my wealth management business, I was sort of pretty hungry to start a digital platform business, and I was looking to join a consumer internet business. And when I got invited to lead a consumer internet company called Proptech.com, I grabbed it with both hands. The underlying for the consumer internet play there was real estate. So I was trying to join a Proptech company and I'm here in real estate. So that's a sort of a semi-interesting story of landing into real estate through the Proptech angle. Hence, I view myself as a real Proptech guy. But happening to be in the real estate now.
Absolutely. How fascinating. Yeah. So what do you think are some of the, Proptech innovations currently that's kind of really changing the landscape of real estate?
So see, if you allow me, I can just take a step back and walk you through almost a 25-year journey of the technology interventions that have happened in real estate. So late 90s, if you try to remember, SMS and email marketing were the in things. And that was the tech part of real estate for many businesses. We all had our Hotmails and Yahoo mails. We had the feature phone, not the smartphone. So the SMS was the way to market. Email marketing was a serious sort of a medium to generate leads. So that was then. The next phase was mid-2000s when reality portals came into play. Makaan.com fired the first salvo, and then there was Magic Bricks, 99 Acres, Common Floor. So the search and discovery went online. That was phase 2, and pretty interesting because then you didn't have to walk to your neighborhood broker. You had to go to these portals and search for your home. Facebook and Google came in. Facebook and Google came 2-3 years later, 2007 to 8 to 9. And sort of merged into this search and discovery phase. Remember, smartphone happened at that time, and that sort of exploded stuff. So that is the third phase. The fourth phase was more internal looking, 2010 to 20, where developers, real estate builders, developers started using LMS, CRM, ERP, which is lead management system, customer relationship management system, and enterprise resource planning software to get their backends in sort of a shape. And so that was that revolution. And the fifth one is the ongoing one currently. For the last 4 or 5 years, there have been technologies which almost flatter to deceive. So blockchain and crypto are there, are not there. AR, VR, fortunately and unfortunately, which I think are pretty potent technologies. have sort of not scratched the surface, have done more than scratching the surface, but they have not really lived up to the potential. And off late, analytical and generative both, and I'll speak a lot about them in the next half an hour.
Sure.
My personal bet is on generative AI, really adding a lot of value, and we'll talk about that as we go ahead.
Absolutely, and I'm sure COVID also would have kind of been a real game changer.
It did, but hey, 10 years later, will I remember that? I may not. So 3 years later, I'm sort of being a bit wiser now and saying, yeah, some of the stuff moved online, but it would have happened anyways. The consumer behavior is changing. The millennials and the Gen Z, they're the customers, and they don't want to do too much of physical stuff, which is good news for us. We'll talk about that more. Yeah.
But my next question was like, do you face any? I mean, are there any hindrances to wide-scale adoption of technology in real estate?
So, see, interesting question, interesting area of discussion that people have pointed fingers at real estate being slow adopters of technology versus FMCG, BFSI, etc. I am not a big votary of that school of thought because give us a break. The search and discovery went digital almost 20 years back. They have done a decentish job. Of course, there are fake listings and proxy listings there, which sort of makes it a bit murky. They've done a decent job. The CRM guys have done a decent job. AR, VR guys have done a decent job. However, there are some peculiarities of our space, right? The physical nature of the transaction itself. If you want to buy a home or rent in a home, very few people will do that without seeing that place. Even if it is on PowerPoint, they want to go and see the land. Hey, there's a symmetry behind it. There's a nala here. So those things sometimes gets hidden in the digital surface. So physical nature of the transaction and physical nature of intermediation. The broker is physical. The broker is a guy or a girl. 300,000 guys, including the unorganized players. They are physical in nature. So the physicality of both the transaction and the intermediation sort of prevents a bit of a transformative disruption, if I may, of the space. So your question is to, hey, are there hindrances? This is the nature of the industry and the nature of customer behavior. However, these are not unsolvable. AR, VR has brought some of the buying process online. So buying process may never become online 100%, but part of that process could become online. So you can eliminate choices rather than selecting one. So no one is saying that you're going to select a home, but hey, can you eliminate some? Yeah, I'm sure you could. It's happening right now. The site visits are becoming more and more serious, and the percentage of bookings to site visit is increasing because of that. Because people are eliminating choices online and then coming there. So there's a bit of a sort of behind the scenes stuff happening. It's slow, but hey, we are not technology laggards or Luddites in the real estate. We are trying to do what we can with the constraints of the structure itself.
Yeah, because even the mindset, that was my question, because in India especially, we think of, still a large population still think of roti, kapda, makan, and home buying has so much of an emotional sentiment. And most of us want one home. The demographics, especially the metros, are changing, but predominantly it is still very much the same, wherein you have one home and you want to kind of really rule out all the options before you put in all your hard-earned money.
No, bang on. The percentage of your income or your wealth which gets invested into your home is humongous. Of your wealth, not even income. You end up spending, a new buyer, first-time buyer, ends up spending 30-40% of the accumulated or more. Sometimes 80%, and that's why they take loans. So it's a serious buy that is given. Now, how does technology work around this is what the challenge for us is.
So, what do you think in India? Is the Proptech adoption limited to the metros, or do you see it happening in Type B, Type C, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities as well?
No, it's happening everywhere. The millennial and Gen Z is on Facebook and Instagram everywhere. Thankfully, not on TikTok, but she's online. She's on social media. It's same everywhere. The internet is a great equalizer. In our times, which is my times, we used to watch cable TV, some Star TV or something 30 years back. And that was the differentiator. But when Bold and Beautiful reached the villages, like the cultural sort of shock which would have come in, is what's happening today with the internet being there everywhere through smartphones, social media being there. So the aspirations, requirements of mini metros or even smaller cities is similar. So technology intervention is sort of taking place everywhere. The search is online everywhere to the extent that the supply part is still supply going on the search and discovery platform is still a manual process, right? Listing those developers, etc. So that there has to be a business case for every company to be in a small city. As the number of homes sold increases, the industry has doubled, and I'll talk about that more, from 2.5 lakh new homes to 5 lakh in the last 2 years. Some of this has got a sort of a tail effect in the smaller cities as well. As demand increases, more and more of these companies will have a business case to set up business there. And technology will pervade. Technology is an equalizer. So I think 80% of what we are doing in metros will happen in mini metros also. Right?
And how do you think the technology is enhancing the customer experience? Can you give some examples?
Yeah, sure. So I started off with my favorite, the search and discovery part, which is the portals that have really sort of helped taking the first part of the process online at least. Unfortunately, we still go to Google to start off with. If Google had come to the country 3-4 years later, we may have been going to one of the portals which would have established itself as a Google of real estate. But that's fine. Most of the Google entries land into the portals if you go on the SEO sort of listings. So search and discovery adds value to the consumer. The consumer doesn't have to go from broker to broker. Many times they discover the broker online. So that's one big piece. The AR, VR walkthroughs help the consumer sort of eliminate, as I said, sort of the wrong choices or the not fit sort of choices. And so it saves time for the consumer to go and sort of buy and pick up. There are applications on the visualization side. So if you're renting in, you may use some softwares to look at what furniture can be put in this apartment versus this, and you take that apartment based on that. So this is a pretty cool sort of application. You just sort of drag and drop furniture and see, yes, this is not what I want, and you may reject a rent in apartment because of that. This is true in commercial leasing as well, where you can see, hey, will my office layout fit into this or not? So these are the ways where the end user are sort of benefiting. As Gen AI comes in, generative AI, smart voice bots, chat bots, video bots are going to help the consumer buy sort of more smartly. And I'll talk about Gen AI whenever you ask me to on what type of application. But these are 3-4 areas where the consumers are already sort of benefiting from technology.
Let's go to that question right away. How is Gen AI actually helping real estate?
So I'll take a step back and divide AI into two parts: the analytical AI and the generative AI, analytical/predictive AI, as we call it. So Gen AI sort of has happened recently. It's been in the works for 20 years, but thanks to Sam Altman and their heroics, it sort of come up. But predictive AI, analytical AI have been there for the last 30-40 years, which is pretty simple to predict what's going to happen, right? It's a propensity model. So even my company, ANAROCK, has patented a AI solution called Astra, where we have built propensity models. There are two models. There is a platinum model and a Phoenix model, and this is a generic thing. It's not about. But the platinum model predicts at the top of the funnel which customer has got the highest propensity to buy. So 10% of such leads, called platinum leads, give 50% of bookings. So the model is accurate to that extent. So, and we are able to identify the 10% platinum leads the moment someone fills a lead form in a Facebook. It's that sharp. It says, hey, your score is 83 at the top of the funnel. And the second model, called Phoenix model, it goes into the junk and filter. Out of 100 leads, only one converts, right? 99 fail. So this Phoenix model goes into the junk and fail lead buckets, scavenges and finds out false negatives, that is leads which should have been considered by sales but were not considered, and sends them back to sales. So these two models have increased revenue by 7 to 10% in the last one or 2 years. So analytical AI or predictive AI has been in the works. This is one use case which I spoke about. There could be multiple use cases. You could predict which customer is going to refer another customer. This is worth its weight in gold, because as you would appreciate, a referral customer converts at 30% conversion versus a 1% conversion for normal leads. you could predict which customer to be given to which telecaller based on the quality of, based on the type of customer, his background, and the telecaller's past performances. So you could predict anything once you have enough big data. So that is already implemented in parts in real estate. Generative AI is coming up, and generative AI largely depends on the data that's fed into the models. So while Altman and gang are building their models there, the data in India is Indian data. The real estate data is Indian data. So that, who's sitting on it? We are sitting on it. Guys like us are sitting on it. 3-4 big guys who have done millions of transactions in the last 10 years. We have the data. So we are feeding the data into Gen AI sort of models and building smart chatbots, voice bots that will actually sort of help the end consumer. So if you're buying a 2 BHK in Sarjapur Road, for example, you go and say, hey, 2 BHK in Sarjapur Road, not on Google, but on this Gen AI smart bot or chat bot. And it says, ki, hey, you know, there are 11 projects in Sarjapur Road fitting your 2 BHK for investment purposes or for staying purpose. However, 3 of them are non-Vastu compliant. So this is a chatbot telling you in the first 3 are, so that leaves 8. 4 out of these 8 developers had delayed their delivery in the last 5 years. Of the remaining 4, 2 are away from your child's school, or far away from your child's school, and that leaves these 3 projects. Please check the attached PDF where these projects are compared.
How fascinating is that?
Normally there's applause at the end of it. I'm joking, but this is the real thing. It's not happen in the next year. It's not going to happen in 10 years from now. Yeah, it's happening in the next 1 year.
It's happening now.
So you feed the model all the data that's there. There's a RERA, there's the portals, there's your own CRM data. And this is the quality of output that will happen. And why won't you buy an apartment in Sarjapur Road based on this?
Absolutely.
In the next instances? So the conversion rate will increase from 10% to 30%. So that's what's going to happen. And hopefully we all are in the middle of this exciting time. So that's my sort of rough expanse on AI. And as I warned you,
it's going to be a real game changer.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. And whoever gets this data first, ChatGPT won't get all this data. So this unlike Google, where you could not build a Google in India or in China either. In China, of course, build their own Google, but because the internet was open to Google, the World Wide Web was open to Google. Here, the data could be bespoke and customized and proprietary, which could be fed into those models, which ChatGPT may not have. So this is pretty exciting times, I would say, and let's see where this goes here.
One of the thoughts that is coming to my mind is AI really going to be eating jobs? What are your thoughts?
So, yes and no. But I'm not a sort of saying, hey, no. Yes, because it is gonna increase efficiency, and it's a mathematical equation, right? When efficiency increases, the sort of the number of resources required to deliver the same stuff reduces. But in India, where the market is doubling every 2 years, or we are on the tiger path of the next 20-30 years, the resources won't be made redundant. They will be redeployed somewhere else, or the growth will absorb them. So I'm not seeing this as a sort of this is going to increase profitability only. This is also going to improve expand the top line humongously. So people are going to get employed in the growth partly, or they're going to get redeployed. So
it's just different skill set.
It's not an easy answer for Western countries. And see, that's why we should not copy the models built in Western countries. They are optimizing for resources because their growth is 0. Their population growth is 0. Their economic, and when I say 0, I mean 0 to 3%. Is it? So they have to optimize for a different problem. We have to optimize for a different problem. We can't build models to reduce jobs. We don't have to. Yeah?
We don't have to. Our real asset is our human capital.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to solve the problem in a different way. We have to solve the problem to grow faster. And India needs to grow faster for the next 20 years for the last 150 million people to come out of poverty and the middle class guys to become upper class. We're still a middle class or a lower middle class country if you see the GDP per capita. So all this is going to help, I think. And we shouldn't get too bothered right now with the risk that it's gonna sort of we have to be ethical, we have to be conscious and conscientious of what we are doing. But currently for the next 10-20 years, I think growth is much more important than worrying about the sort of efficiency only piece in Gen AI. That's my view.
Absolutely. It's actually, India is definitely on a transformational phase, and real estate industry as well. You know, it's phenomenal.
And we should use this because each answer has got a context. You can't have one model which fits everything. So we have a context. We have a context of high growth country, a higher growth industry. Industry is doubled, right? When 40% CAGR, double is 1.4 into 1.4 is 1.96, doubled. So 40% growth. GDP is growing at 7 to 8%. So in this hyper growth industry, you have to make your models to exploit that growth rather than start becoming sort of a page pushers and penny pinchers and trying to find just the efficiency part. Efficiency will come. If the revenue doubles, then lots of it is going to fall into the bottom line, and the productivity and profitability will grow anyways.
True. How are you taking care of the data security and privacy part?
So not my strong point, as in my personal strong point. I've not
Is that a challenge?
As the data is exploded, the rules for handling data also has to move as fast as that. I don't think we are moving as fast as that, both regulatory wise. Again, India is in the forefront of most of the regulations on data security and privacy, but I think we have miles to go. I think a fast-moving train or a fast-moving car or a fast-moving highway where there are a lot of cars, there are some accidents which happen, and unfortunately, I've got a ringside view, but I don't think that, or I think that we have to work harder on that to really sort of safeguard all those data breaches. You heard about the UID AI about a month back, and it's pretty scary because we have collected lots of data in the last 10 years, and we are going to collect 10 times that data in the next 10 years. So I hope the regulators and the companies are conscientiously putting those guardrails and to prevent data breaches. Small mishaps are going to happen, according to me. We have to just sort of be careful about what we can.
Okay. How do you think technology is, the real estate agent, developer, brokers, and the industry is using technology to streamline their operations?
Yeah, so going back to the market participants, we have spoken a lot about home buyers and consumers. Market participants are the indirect beneficiary of all the benefits that come to the home buyer. So all the search and discovery, AR, VR, whatever is helping them to buy is helping these guys to sell to start off with. But specifically, the automation and digitization of the back-end processes, which I mentioned through the LMS, CRM, and ERP, have seen a pretty explosive growth. So you are able to market, you're able to develop marketing campaigns in a smarter and more personalized way now. And with Gen AI, it's going to be crazy. So already you're seeing those ads where each person is seeing a different background based on what you have seen in the past. So if you respond to a green background ad better, and I respond to purple background ad better, the front will be same, but the background will be different. And there'll be like million such combinations, and it's happening. So advertising, creative advertising is pretty smart now, which real estate developers have started using, by the way. And the CRM gives you a sort of a sales to marketing solid loop, and a marketing to sales solid loop, obviously from marketing to sales, but it also gives you a sales to marketing feedback loop very smartly, which campaign is working, which is not working in real time. And this is like in ANAROCK, we have our CRM which does that. So we don't have to wait till the end of the month to change a campaign. Facebook nahi chal raha hai, so stop that or pause it. This comes immediately, and you can also put auto stops. So the developer is really enjoying on the sales and marketing side. On the construction tech side, because I speak a lot about sales and marketing, I should talk a bit about construction, which I know through general knowledge rather than being there. But construction tech, the aggregation of materials is a pretty smart sort of a solution that many companies are trying to do, because there is so much material happening and the industry is doubling. So all these portals have to almost double their volumes as they go ahead. Construction technology wise, I would have personally loved more sort of advancement. I still see the dangerous bamboo scaffolding on many constructions, though not all. I think the bigger players are pretty much as good as anyone in the West. But I think the construction technology, the prices have to fall further for the smaller developers to also use all those wonderful technologies. When my one came about 10-15 years back, everyone really took to it like fish to water. But the safety processes, when you go to construction site, even now you are a bit worried. So those things will come as we go ahead, and hopefully we should become a developed country more in all senses.
I want to just go back to the virtual reality phase again, and how do you think it's going to really enhance the customer experience?
So good. You brought us back to VR, AR walkthroughs, which like last time I googled down, like there are 483 VR, AR, VRX companies in India.
Wow.
So like I was on it really, which is great because good work's been done by these companies. The quality of the walkthrough has improved a lot. The intelligence and data will come now into that. So see, just the walkthrough, but aided with the last 5 years buying behavior. Once those get married now with Gen AI coming in, then this becomes smarter. This shows different walkthroughs to different people. And this person had last time left it in the kitchen, sort of when the kitchen walkthrough, when the kitchen part of the walkthrough was going on. So they will sort of modify it that way. So the smartness part of the walkthroughs are coming in, of the VR, AR pieces. Some developers are using it pretty well. I've seen the VR headsets being given in some sales offices, and it was almost like sitting in a 4D theater or a roller coaster. And you could see all the amenities of that project through that. Very, very smartly done. So some developers are using VR, AR already. VR more. AR is a very specific stuff, augmented reality, where you sort of superimpose virtuality on reality. That's not there to such an extent, but VR itself is pretty strong. Online walkthroughs are also getting prevalent. However, the cost of VR is a bit prohibitive, and that's where technological innovation and breakthrough has to happen. Because once that gets democratized, when each broker can build a VR walkthrough of a rental apartment or resale apartment, then the technology inflection point happens. So it's a slightly chicken and egg. If you are asking X lakh rupees to build a VR sort of thing, then only these many, your market size, your total addressable market is this much only. If you democratize it and figure out a way to monetize your business, then it explodes. So I think we are there on that cusp. I think VR, AR on its own won't take off. Gen AI injection has to come in there for this to become smarter, and then it takes off in my mind.
How do you see the next decade for Proptech in real estate India?
More of the same and in a smarter way. So I would think across all those 3-4 areas that I spoke about, what can happen in the next 10 years is so search and discovery first, that will become smarter, clearly. There will be smart chatbots, voice bots in the portals themselves, which will guide you in a smarter way. In a bespoke way based on your particular background. There will be different searches. Like this is amazing, right? So you will see something else in a portal, I'll see something else. Because you had gone to Economic Times and I had gone to Times of India before I came in there. Like this is pretty cool. This is going to happen. Search and discovery is going to become smarter. VR, I said VR, AR should become smarter. VR, AR, we need a lot of innovations and breakthroughs there. Because the digitalization of the home buying process is sort of predicated on how well you are able to simulate the site visit. See, the site visit is a physical stuff. Now, how do you simulate that part? How do you make a kick-ass sort of experience where you come and say, yeah, I don't have to go there to see that. That a helicopter view, a drone, a walkthrough, a combo of all that. Some people are doing this, but not to the extent that I would sort of say, okay, I won't go there. So if you're moving 30-40% of your sale online, I think that's a big KRA I'm giving further to the AR VR industry. So that's where next 10 years AR VR will take off. Gen AI is the sort of going to be the most disruptive one. The Sarjapur Road example that I told you. I think what else will you need? A chatbot. This may threaten the portals if they don't do it themselves, because someone else can make a portal with that. Analytical AI or predictive AI will keep on becoming smarter. So my 10% leads giving 50% of bookings. If this 50% becomes 70%, then see the power of this. Then these 90%, I may discard the bottom 15%. Next 20% I'll send WhatsApps only. I won't even call them. And these 30% I'll call. And I'm happy because 60% of my sale is anyways sort of guaranteed. So that's where analytical AI will go in. The backend processes, CRM is already smart. Salesforce has taught all of us, the Indian players as well, to be sharper and smarter. Everyone has so our Astra AIML model is incorporated in our CRM already. So our CRM is an AIML sort of driven, like Salesforce is backed by Einstein, the module. We also have a module. It's pretty simple, and we are of course sitting on Indian data. So we say that ours is better, but hey, at least that piece is also getting smarter and better, the ERP piece. So next 10 years is going to be better than the last 10 years, clearly, in each of these phases. I think AI, Gen AI will be the vertical which will inject some energy into all these horizontals, and that's how it will take off.
Great times ahead. Any, in conclusion, any final thoughts that you would love to, you would like to share with the audience as to tech in real estate?
No, it's spoken enough, but overall, yeah, we have to shed the tag of a slow adopter so even in a McKinsey report, if you open it, it says that hey, real estate is a slow adopter of technology. I don't think we are. There is a peculiarity of our industry where, and there's not an excuse, but the one way to do it is to really sort of go gangbusters on adopting it. Thankfully, there has been an aggregation of or consolidation of real estate developers as well. Not a tech topic, but top 30 developers used to give 17% of new homes. Now it's gone to 35%. So my point is that the bigger developers are leading the technology evangelization and adoption, and the others are going to follow. So that's good news. So when big developers become serious industry players, investing X crores into technology, then others have many of the other guys sort of a piggyback ride on that, and others or the smaller guys have to really learn faster and move there in a smarter way, because we don't have too much funds. We have to do the same thing a similar way. So the consolidation industry will also accelerate the technology adoption and evangelization in real estate, in my mind. That's what I see, the outlook for real estate, technology in real estate.
Great talk there. I also have a few questions just to get to know Sunil as a person. Yeah.
You already embarrassed me with the longest sort of the note to my marketing introduction preamble. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Please.
I want to know, how does Sunil unwind? What are some of your passions and hobbies?
Unfortunately, not too many. Bit boring. So empty nesters, kid in college. So we go and see more plays, stand-up comedies in theaters rather than on YouTube. We are the second row guys in stand-up comedy.
How interesting.
So we are there in most of them. I read. I'm an old world reader, so I actually have to read. I subscribe to Harvard Business Review, The Economist, India Today. And I read 3 papers every day: The Economist, the Economic Times, Mint, and Times. So I'm an old world reader. The Economist, last couple of years after pandemic, they went to a mobile app, so it sort of disrupted my world. But I'm on the app now. The discipline to go there every day is important. So I read a bit. I go out and see. We go out and see plays, and that's my unwinding sort of strategy, if you may.
I want to know a little bit about that book of yours, Return of the Hypotenuse, because poetry in maths and science is something very interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't leave any discussion. Clearly I wrote it for a lark. It was just a fun writing. The book actually has 27 poems from all concepts of Archimedes' law to Newton's third law to how does the plane fly to how does the body function, written in poem forms. So it's not physics only, physics, math, biology, the concept of pi, etc. explained in poem form. And then there are some essays to explain that, because a lot of people won't, their eyes will glaze if they see that. So so I wrote that book for fun for my daughter. It became a book, and I haven't written a book ever since. So looks like I've said whatever is good for some time. It's a history of big science, I call it, or a big history of science and math. So right from the wheel to internet, all the inventions figure in that book as poems, if you may. And the book is priced at 314 rupees, which is 100 times pi, if you
Oh, 3.14.
it's not well done.
Very nice. I have a rapid fire session
Oh,
too.
really? Okay.
Just about 3 or 4.
I thought I was being very fast in answers anyways.
You are. You are indeed. So what's your favorite travel destination?
Mountains. So we recently went in the US to Montana, Yellowstone National Park. Before that, Switzerland, Grand Canyon. So
Anywhere in the mountains.
yeah. So over the years, I have realized that hey, mountains. And I'm not a mountaineer, but just the views, because they get trapped in the sort of inner eye as you call for many months, and aftertaste of the vacation lasts a lot.
Absolutely.
So I'm a sort of bit of a mountain and green guy, a forest guy, rather than a beach person as compared to that.
Are you a Netflix or a board games person?
Oh, Netflix.
Netflix
has destroyed our lives completely. The reading time has reduced. And thankfully so. There's some lovely content there as well. The quality of content has gone up like crazy.
Good ones to watch out for.
You'll go see the IMDb rating. If it's anything less than 7, you don't go there. It's a pretty tough world that Netflix has built. And thanks to them and other guys, obviously, Prime, etc.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a morning person. So I am a distance runner. So that brings a 5 a.m. Discipline. So we have to wake up at 5 a.m. because 6 that class starts. So we are part of a club. So I'm a morning person clearly. So I've done my 3-4 kilometer run today morning before coming to this. So it's a morning person. So I sleep at 10:30 the latest.
You are a Bollywood or a Hollywood fan?
OTT.
That says it all.
Because lovely content, and there's a third category of foreign films, not Hollywood, not Bollywood, which we are seeing thanks to OTT. So the Spanish cinema, money highest, like who would sort of who would have seen that 10 years back. So clearly I'm like a strong votary of world cinema and world content, and largely through OTT, I would say.
The last one, reading or podcast?
Oh, reading. So I'm a reading guy. I'm aware I'm on a podcast, but I'm a reading guy. I'm a slow sort of consumer of content. I do good on podcast as well. In podcasts, I switch on the subtitles in YouTube because I'm a reader. So I read as well. And I hear podcast at 1.5x, the speed. So yeah, because I find the speed of everyone pretty slow when you're hearing it, and I want to sort of get to the next sort of thing. So 1.5x is my favorite YouTube speed of listening to podcasts and podcasts. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's a wrap.
Thank
you so much, Sunil, for being and sharing your insights. It's been a great session, and all the wonderful how real estate is going to be changing in the next decade. It's going to be a very fascinating time for real estate and for India, of course. So thank you, audience, for tuning in. All our efforts are towards simplifying real estate, and every month we bring in industry experts to share their success stories. So until next time, stay tuned and goodbye.